Good afternoon, everyone. This is a recording of the short exercise for production planning. And in this exercise, we will get to look only on certain documents that are related to production. So in the exercise, the first thing that you get to see is a stock requirement list, and you're just checking what you have in stock to see what products you need to initiate production for. So we'll go under logistics and production planning and demand management and environment and stock requirement list. And you are trying to find how much do you have in stock for the different products in there. So the different bikes that you have, the deluxe touring bike, silver, red, and black. So first you'll try and search, and you will put they tell you to go to material by material type tab, and you can definitely, the easiest is actually to go through the menu and find the particular tab that you want and to click on it. Okay, and you are looking for a finished product. All of the bikes are finished products, so and the type is FERT. And if you can't remember, you can always like search and see the different types that you have. And you have like spare parts, equipment, but that's a finished product. And the description starts with deluxe. So you can type in the first letters and put an asterisk, that's the wild card. And you know that you want only yours listed. So we'll have the description of the material, the code for the material starting with anything but ending with our number. So the 3 zeros here will be replaced by the last 3 digits of your user ID, the GBI dash, and then the last 3 digits. So these are all of the deluxe touring bikes that you have, or that I have, the deluxe touring bike black, red, and silver. So now if we choose the first one, we get to see how many I think they want you to enter the plant, and the plant is Dallas. So we have 250 available quantity in stock. So you may have a different value. Let's see if we want to find out how about the DXTR 300 or 3000. We can go and open a new session. And again, go to logistics, go to production planning, demand management, environment, and stock requirement list. And this time we will put 3000, or we'll take the one and change it with a 3. and you have a stock of 0 for the red, and again open. So or you can go back and put for the red, I think it's 500. There is no 500. I can't remember what's the number for black, but we can always search. So the silver is actually 200. So again 0. So we have nothing of the red and silver in stock. So you should be filling in the values for page number 3, and all of that can be put in the submission box. So you don't have to upload an actual document. All you have to write is number of Black Deluxe touring bikes are, and see whatever you have under your number. And for example, for me, I would put for the DXTR 200 0 in stock, and the same thing for DXTR 3000. But then when we come to the DXTR 1000, I have 250. You have to report what you have in your own sandbox, because that's how I will be grading you. Now, the second part of the exercise, we'll start to look at the bill of material. And if you haven't yet listened to the video on production, the bill of material is a list of the components that you would need in order to create that product, that finished product. So if I were to create a deluxe touring bike silver, I have specific set of components that I need to assemble together in order to get the finished product. So the list tells you what are the components, a description of these components, how much do you need of each. So for example, you would need like 2 tires, for example, and all of that is in a bill of material. And again, in the video, I tell you that there are 2 types. There are the single level and there is a multi-level. We get to actually see both now. So let's close this this session and go back. And now we need to look at the bill of material. And a bill of material, again, you have to realize that the bill of material is master data. What do we mean by master data? We've used master data in all of the exercises that we have done so far. So when we looked at purchasing, we said that vendor is a master data, that items or material is a master data. When we looked at sales and distribution, we said customer is master data. That's data that continue to exist in your database of 1 year after the other. It's not transient, it's not temporary. When we talked about the temporary data or the transactional data in these different modules, we said these are like transactions that are relevant in a particular period, in a particular accounting period. So when I look at purchasing, we say the purchase orders are transactional data. In the sales and distribution, sales order are transactional data, the invoices and so on. They don't continue to exist in the system year after year. Usually when you close a cycle, normally a year or sometimes a couple of years, depending on the type of product, then you purge all of this data, all of the transactional data out of the system, and you store them in a data warehouse for analysis purposes. So in the in the production planning now, bill of material is a master data. Why is it a master data? Because you do not expect to change the components of a particular product every 6 months or something like that. You actually wait several years in order to change a particular model. So the bill of material is something that will continue to exist, is master data, is transient, is persistent data, I'm sorry. It continue to exist within the system, one cycle after the other. So, and I think one of the questions on the quiz ask you about what are master data or what is not considered the master data. What is not considered the master data is any transactional data, so, or any transactional document. If I place a production order, that's definitely is not considered master data. So now we need to find out the bill of material. So we'll go under production and look at the master data. And we want specifically the bill of material. And again, bill of material and material BOM. And we want to just display. And now the last thing that we looked at was the silver deluxe touring bike. So we'll take that one. They want you to choose a BOM usage, and they tell you that it's either in the US or in Germany, so you choose the one in the US, the Dallas plant. And let's see if you either have to put a quantity of 1, or sometimes it allow you to run. So here are the list of material or the components that you need in order to assemble a deluxe touring bike of the silver color. You see you have a touring aluminum wheel, you have a touring frame silver, gear, assembly, seat kit, handlebar, pedal assembly, and so on. Well, if you look, one thing you would notice that under the ASM, the assembly, you have a check for the touring aluminum wheel. And what this means is that this particular component is actually assembled. You need to assemble the touring aluminum wheel before you can assemble the deluxe touring bike. So it is a sub-assembly in there. So what happens if we just double click and it tells you the touring aluminum wheel assembly, and you need 2, and actually now you get to see what makes up that sub-assembly, that aluminum wheel assembly. It requires a tire, a tube, an aluminum wheel, a nut 5, a lock washer, a socket. So all of these need to be assembled into an aluminum wheel assembly, and you need 2 of them in order to start the production of the previous one. So they tell you to go and look at the assembly for the red and black, but I guess you can try and do them just to see if you can remember, or you can just like change. So let's look at the black. And again, almost the same, but now I have a color black, so almost everything is the same. So the touring frame is black. So that's what we call a single level bill of material. Can I get now a multi-level where I can see right away the subcomponents that make up the touring aluminum wheel? Let's go back and we choose, instead of the material BOM, we want the multi-level BOM and see the difference between the two views. They're asking you to create settings. Now, looking at the menu, it seems like we chose the wrong menu option, so we have to actually go under bill of material and then reporting and BOM explosion and material BOM and multi-level BOM. And it's gonna show us the black touring bike out of Dallas plant, and the BOM application is PP01. You need to put 1 for the required quantity and display. And again, you can see now that this is more detailed, that the multi-level BOM give you all of the sub-assembly, all of the parts that go into the touring aluminum wheel. In order to assemble the touring aluminum wheel, you need a touring tire, a tube, an aluminum wheel, the nut, and the lock washer. So all the 0.2 are sub-assemblies. Now, if we want to look at a graphic that would show again the BOM, but in a graphic format, you can do that. Just like change the view to include a variable list. Go to graphic. Now you get to see that. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller so you can see more. You get to see the different components that make up that the Touring aluminum wheel assembly requires a certain assembly itself, and then once they are assembled, then you would also need a Touring frame black, a gear assembly, a seat kit, a handlebar, a pedal assembly, a chain, a brake kit, a warranty document, and packaging. The second document that we will look at is the routing. And now we said the bill of material is just a list of components. You need instructions now on what to do with these components in order to get the output at the end, a Touring Deluxe or a Deluxe Touring bike. So how do you assemble these is explained in the routing. So routing will tell you the sequential operations that needs to be carried out in order for you to assemble that product. It also would tell you where the work will be performed and what needs to be completed at what time and so on. You would also, if you need machines, certain machines, it would list also the name of the machines and the time, starting time and the end time for the use of each machine. So if I ask you a question now, will the routing be a master data? The answer is yes, because again, you don't expect a change in the production process every month or every cycle. The way that you will assemble the bike will be the same year after year until an innovative business process or manufacturing process is suggested and you adopt that new one. So let's look again at the Deluxe Touring Bike Black out of Dallas. And now you have the sequential steps that you need to do. You have material staging, attach seat to frame, attach handlebar assembly, attach derailleur, gear assembly to wheel, attach front and rear reel wheels to chain, attach brakes, attach pedals, test bike, disassemble, pack bike, move to storage. Now, even when you are in the routing view, you can still display the components. So if we want to look at the components, then these are like the components that you will need: the wheeling, the wheel, and the rest of the things here: the chain, the pedal, the seat, and so on. Now, as you can see, none of these material is assigned to a particular operation right now. And that's why the operation column is empty, because you don't have assigned production. You don't have a production order to produce anything right now. So that will take you back to the routing view. And again, if you want to see the steps in a graphic format, you can do that. And now you get to see like a flow chart that shows what are the steps that you need to do. So first step is material staging, and it will take 0.667 minutes. Attach seat to frame will take 1 minute. Attach handlebar will take 2 minutes. Attach derailleur will take 2 minutes, and so on. So now, if we want to look at the schedule of operation, we would click on extras. So we want to find the schedule of operation, and you can actually view it in, again, chart. So those of you who have taken project management and know what's, again, chart, these are all of your work processes and the amount of time when they will start, the dependencies between each. So we get to see what date they will start and how much time they will take. They are all scheduled on like the 14th. If you want, the time unit right now is the day. So if you want to change the time, or an hour, if you want to change it to minute, you get to see now the dependencies. You have to finish one, and to start 2, to start 3, to start 4, and so on. Some of well, in an actual Gantt chart, some can run parallel. So we get to look at the legend, and the legend will tell you. Let me bring it. It's actually trying to display the Gantt chart. It's taking a little bit of time. Okay, so as we said, this will tell you how the operation, the routing, the steps for the routing. And if you need to look at the schedule, you can go and click on extra scheduling and schedule. And here is a view of the Gantt chart, and we can actually change the time unit to minute. Can you also see the legend? But I don't get to move it actually. Yeah, here it is. So it tells you a definition or latest processing time, the latest wait time, and so on. So if you're familiar with the Gantt chart will tell you, will show in a graphical view the duration of each task, the dependency between each task, any slack there is, which is the amount of time that you can delay an activity without delaying the final delivery date for that activity. Because of dependency, sometimes there are embedded slack in there. So now we are going to do the last thing, which is the engineering workbench. And that's where you can actually change a bill of material or routing. So let's say, for example, there is a change in the way you produce or you assemble a particular product, then you have to go to the engineering workbench where you can change the bill of material or the routing. So let's say that the manufacturer or your supplier is now providing a different spare part than was originally intended, because like to increase durability of the product, then you will go to the engineering workbench to make that change. Now, people may ask and say, well, in a little while you said master data remain in the system. Yes, it will continue. Even if I change the bill of material. It's the same like changing the address of a customer. That means you don't delete it out of the system. It will continue to exist in the system. That doesn't mean it is transient or is it temporary or anything like that. It is persistent, continue to exist. Same thing, the bill of material or the routing will continue to exist, but there might be some changes in one of the steps, and it is okay to do them in the system. Of course, we archive the old bill of material, so we would capture the original record and any changes that we need to make. So let's go now to the engineering workbench. It's actually under master data, but I need to close the routing. So we'll choose the test work area. Okay, we are going to put the material and the Dallas plant and load the BOM. And now you can get to see the routing and the bill of material. Here is your bill of material, and here is the routing. And they tell you now you can actually get to change any of the routing processes. So if you look at attached seat to frame, you get to change the operation or the processing time or anything of that nature. So remember that the engineering workbench is just like for creating a bill of material or creating a routing or changing any of these. Actual production or actual the operation will take place in what we call a work center. So let's look at one. And again, you need to know what is master data, what is transactional data. And there are different work centers. So if you want you have machine, labor, project management, production line, processing. So we want the assembly work center. So you can see from the window that opened that Stephen Barton is the person responsible for that particular assembly work center. Not sure that this is the right view. Okay, so I guess I did not scroll down, so I wasn't able to see the display formula. So if we want to look at the formula says labor multiplied by operation quantity divided by base quantity divided by operation splits. So if we want to test the formula, they ask you to enter operation quantity of 100. So we're gonna test it with 100 quantities to produce. Base quantity is 1 and number of splits is 2. And the setup minute is 7 and labor is 7. So if we want to calculate it just wants to see the unit of measure, and the unit of measure is each. So if the setup duration is 7 minutes, the process duration would be 350, and total duration would be 357. So remember that the formula was labor multiplied by the operation quantity, and we set the operation quantity to 100, and the base unit is 1, and the splits is 2. So if we have 7 for labor for the setup, then that would end up in a total of 350. So now your final question is, what is the controlling area and the cost center that this work center is assigned to? And by definition, it is costing. And you can see that the controlling area is GBI North America, and the cost center is the production cost. And that's all for the short exercise.